messages on screen, the wooden operator that information becomes available. This station will now
Keep actively resisting.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers Podcast. Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers Podcast, the only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment. We are your hosts, Cam and Kobe, and we are ready to bring survival goodness direct to your ear holes.
Geez, your voice is annoying.
It is. I'm so sorry.
We have the most annoying voices.
We absolutely do.
To some people, it can't take it.
You know, I don't blame them when it comes down to it, really.
Honestly,
I don't think I'd listen to myself either.
I don't think I would either.
But we're here, nonetheless.
But hey, there's plenty of others out there.
Yeah.
Go listen to those
Do it.
dry, non-weird, non-word fumbling.
Yeah.
Dummies.
Professionals. and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
What's going on today, Cameron?
Well, I'm just here for a podcast. That's
Yeah,
it.
That's it.
That's all I'm here for.
What are we speaking about?
Well, we talked about bugging out. We're going to talk about bugging in.
Yeah, the opposite.
Yeah. Completely different clan.
Completely different.
Not one thing is, there's no crossover.
There's yeah.
Either you have that plan or this plan.
That's it.
Completely
We're
different.
going to talk about that. We have some survival boxes. We have a Tacpack. We're going to have a grand old time.
Hey,
We're glad you're here with us.
This is just going to be one of those episodes
You kind of
about
sound like
survival.
you have an attitude today a little bit, it feels like.
Maybe I do.
You kind of sound like it.
Little butthole, huh?
But today's podcast is brought to you by Tacpack, the only monthly tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside. Get 10% off your first Tacpack with our code CasualPreppers at Tacpack.com and join the thousands of satisfied subscribers today. That's 10% off with our code CasualPreppers at Tacpack.com.
Yeah, go get it.
Couldn't be more excited. I'll tell you
Sick
that.
and tired of you guys not doing it.
See this attitude, man. I don't know what to do about it.
Listener reviews starts now.
It's not an attitude.
It's not. It's all.
It's all fun and games.
That's all fun and games, kid. This one is from the Manukwa Maori Prepper. It took me a second to read that. 5 stars.
It did look kind of good.
He says, get ready for a vicious load of honey right in your peephole. As these boys lay down enough prepping facts, it could choke a dozen donkeys. This protein-fueled podcast has the balance of production quality and humorous banter required to prepare even the most procrastinating pothead for this mad, mad world.
Well said.
Woo!
Those are good words.
That was some good stuff, wasn't it?
That was.
That one's all the way
Well done.
from New Zealand.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's why. It's a little hard to pronounce the name.
Yeah, that's exactly why. So if you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, leave us a 5-star review, and make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
You want me to go or you go?
I don't know. I don't think we have to have this debate every single time.
I'll talk about it. I just thought this was interesting because some people, I don't know, maybe their bug out plan is to go to space. So I wanted to talk about it.
I have considered that, but haven't worked out the
Hey,
plan.
nobody's up there.
You
Space
don't-
is super cold and hard to get to.
You don't know if
That's
nobody's
the best
up
place
there.
to bug out to. So this was posted about the health of astronauts. So maybe your bug out plan is to go up into space, and that's a great plan. But you have to consider a few things.
That's a great plan.
They found that astronauts in space flight had herpes outbreaks.
What?
So a lot of them have cold sores mostly.
Yeah, sure.
Things like that. The stress that it puts on the body just causes all those things to pop out.
Oh,
so,
man.
Anyway, if you're planning on bugging out to space, be prepared to deal with herpes breakouts and big ulcer faces and weird looking stuff like that.
That's awesome, man.
One other thing is they recently tested a harpoon to collect space junk.
A harpoon?
Freaking shot it.
Like from the Earth?
No, that would be even better. Well, I'll have to say, after I read it, I was like, I've never wanted to be a garbage man more in my life. Go up there and collect space junk.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's an estimated 7,600 pounds of space junk floating around out there.
That's a lot of pounds.
So how do they even get out there and not have like a frozen space turd from like some astronaut? You know when they dump that crap
Yeah.
out in space? Like go through the windshield and
I
kill
don't
them.
know, man.
Take out a rocket. Oh, dang it. There's a bunch of frozen pee that just got...
Frozen urine just got us.
So anyway, it's a weird, mad, mad world, but
It
if
is
you're
weird.
considering going to space, it's not
Yeah.
all easy.
You're going to want to look at those things before you
You're going to
go.
have to consider,
Yeah.
hey, am I going to get a herpes outbreak, or am I going to run into frozen junk?
You never know.
Probably.
You never know. This one is actually on Earth, my mad world. It's in Nebraska.
This makes more sense.
They face over $1.3 billion in flood losses from this crazy thing. The bomb cyclone that swept through the Midwest this week has caused more than $1 billion of flood damage in Nebraska. And the state's governor said Wednesday, at least 3 people have been killed in Nebraska and Iowa. That's
Dang.
bad. Yeah, heavy rainfall and rapid.
So that's the whole state of Nebraska, right?
Yeah, it's
like
half the
what?
state. It's the governor and his wife. Heavy rainfall and rapid snowmelt have caused catastrophic flooding across the Missouri River Basin, and 3/4 of Nebraska's 93 counties have declared an emergency. That's crazy, man.
I didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah, Ricketts estimated that more than 2,000 homes.
There's rickets?
Ricketts.
Good
That's his
freak.
name.
That's broke out too?
No, it's his name. More than 2,000 homes and 340 businesses were damaged and destroyed by the flood at a
Wow.
cost of $85 million.
So what's a bomb cyclone?
And that's a bad thing.
That sounds cool.
I know. It's like, yeah, we're going to go get a bomb cyclone.
It's
you guys
a little
wanna come?
safer. It's not a nuclear bomb. It's a bomb cyclone.
Yeah.
It just starts up.
Sounds like something you get at Dairy Queen to me. I want a chocolate bomb cyclone, please.
Easter special bomb cyclone. Frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So, yeah, anyways.
it totally does.
Doesn't it?
I want a bomb cyclone.
I want a cheeseburger and fries and give me a bomb cyclone on the side.
Honey, they brought the bomb cyclone back. Let's go get it.
They don't serve it in Nebraska anymore.
It's too offensive.
It's way too offensive.
That's weird though, huh? That's a lot of
Yeah,
money.
It's mooey water.
Everything's like billion nowadays.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
house burned down, $1 billion.
$14 billion. One
Just
3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
It's like they don't even bother with millions and thousands anymore. Billion.
Those numbers
Immediately,
they're
billion.
They're like pennies now.
They are. It's crazy.
That's
Well, anyway, why don't we?
Let's get
why
to
don't we do it?
Let's get to the good stuff. So today we're talking about bugging in.
Yeah.
We had an episode last time on bugging out, and today we're going to talk about all aspects. Well, maybe not all, but many aspects of bugging in.
Yeah.
Lots of different points we're going to hit. So there's a lot to get to. So we're just
There
going
is
to
a lot
like
to get to.
start hitting it right.
A lot of
now.
our podcasts have, individually addressed a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of buzz through them pretty quick.
Sure.
But first is the scenarios that would probably, we talked about these two in the bug out one, but what are things that would lead to the bug in plan being even better?
Yeah, and like we said, bugging out should be your plan B.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. You can do whatever you want.
Probably the sexiest plan of them all.
If you're going to Mars and that's your plan A, then do it.
There's a lot of things to watch out for. I just told you about that.
But, for Cam and I, we say plan A is always going to be bugging in.
Yeah, by far the easiest. So pandemics obviously would be really crappy to be out there and about. You want to be away from people, things. You want to be isolated. So this is the perfect kind of scenario. The one that I think is one of the most realistic scenarios.
Yeah.
Is isolating your family within your own home. So this is a perfect scenario to be ready for and have your extensive.
Yeah, it
bugging
absolutely
plan.
is. I mean, it can be argued that bugging out might be, depending on when you learn about it and what the breakout looks
The
like.
location, if you're in the
Yeah.
middle of a city, but still,
It's still
if you can
bugging in
isolate
is-
yourself in.
It's always a good idea in that situation. So
And a lot of the natural disasters, depending on floods and things like that, hurricanes, obviously, you're gonna want to get out of there, or you're gonna get trapped. And if a tornado path is right down your street, but blizzards, being snowed in, and power
Bomb
outages
cyclones.
and things. Bomb cyclones, number one.
and blizzards,
Yep.
get them both.
I really want both today.
Lost my screen pretty bad now.
I know. So any of those natural disasters typically cause a blackout too, or power outage. So that's another. These are all kind of linked together in some way.
Yes.
So you want to have that bug in plan. An EMP, obviously, it's just going to cause utter chaos outside of the home.
It is.
You got traffic to get through, and I don't know, cyborgs are going to be shut down, clutter in the
Cyborg.
streets. Zombie apocalypse, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna if you have all your stuff indoors, you got a good security and defense system. You're gonna live forever.
Yeah, as long as you've prepped.
Yeah, as
and you're
long as
ready
you've
to
prepped.
roll. Yeah, absolutely.
Martial law. most often with it, they tend to want you to stay indoors anyway.
Yeah,
you know, they got
they
a
do.
curfew. They want you indoors. So this is perfect. And most of the time, this is going to work out really well for your bug-in plan because you're already ready. Unless they decide, you know what, put all your stuff in the middle of your neighborhood because we're going to use it all.
Yeah.
Thanks. And goodbye. Nuclear fallout. You want to be away from the debris and all the contaminated crap. Volcanoes, unless you live right under them.
Yeah.
All the soot and, you know, we talked about that in the volcano episode. It's
We did.
You can't get around very well. You've got all kinds of contaminants. Your vehicle can't breathe. You can't breathe. Nobody can breathe.
It's funny
scary.
that I was just thinking about it. It's funny that we had a volcano episode before we had a bug-in episode.
That's true.
That's priorities are a little screwy.
Hey, we do
That's
what
all
we
right.
want.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
So anyway, those
Yeah,
are just some
those are great.
basic things to consider bugging in, and a lot of the time that's going to be your plan.
Yeah, I mean,
A, like you said.
economic collapse could be. I mean, there's so
Yeah,
many
that
different
too.
scenarios
Yeah.
that like bugging in is probably going to be good. So, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of bugging in? They're pretty obvious when you think about it. So, advantages, obviously, you know your home, you're at home. This is where you live every day. So, staying there, you're going to be more comfortable. If you have a family or a group, they're going to be more comfortable. Duh, you know what I mean? Security is easier, right? I mean, do I even need to say this? But obviously, you're going to have less chance of injuries because you're not bugging out. Bugging out obviously brings on a lot of possible scenarios where things can go wrong. So you have less of that when you're bugging in. It's obviously where all of your preps already are, or a big majority of them anyways. They're usually at your house. So you're right there. You don't have to go get them. You don't have to carry them. You don't have to do anything. They're there. Hopefully, and this isn't always true, but hopefully you have a community or a neighborhood support system of some sort where you can trust at least a portion of those people, right? And so that's always good. Going outside, a lot of times it's going to be super duper cold, and it's hard to keep warm in a bug out scenario. So it's hard to keep cool. There's a lot of those things when you're out in the elements and you're just bugging out that you can't control, and it's going to make it a lot harder. Hopefully, you're going to be less of a target at home than you would be traveling. If you're at home in your basement with the doors locked, much less of a target, hopefully. Some scenarios, that's not true, but hopefully you are. If you have sick, injured, or disabled elderly people in your home, in your group, it might be your only option. You might not be able to bug
Can't
out.
go very far.
Yeah, you're just going to have to. So there are some disadvantages, and just a few that I wrote down. Sometimes your neighbors aren't the best. Sometimes they know that you prep, and sometimes that could come back to bite you in the butt because they're going to come
I'm sure
back.
there's some you can think of right off the top
Oh,
of your
yeah.
head. Yeah, I don't want that guy near me.
Not at all. Several of them. It might be harder to survive in your area depending on what the situation is. You know, like maybe you're in Nebraska and it's flooding. You can't bug in. It's just like we talked about, right? And you could be a target if you aren't ready with a really good security plan.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
If it's a blackout and people are walking down the road and they see that you have lights in your house, you become a target really, really quick. So,
What you doing down there?
hey, you can see stuff. Hey.
What? That's just all they say. They just stand in your doorway. Hey, hey, get out of here. Hey.
Get out of here, damn it. I'm trying to eat my bomb cyclone. Yeah, so those are some advantages and some disadvantages of bugging in.
For sure. Those are good ones.
Yeah, they are.
So locations, obviously there's not a whole lot of options here. Your main thing is going to be your home, your basement.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most likely location where you have your bug-in plan, extensively made out. Probably not. It's probably just chaos, just like my house. Stuff's spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's the easiest option. You're familiar with it, hopefully, unless you just moved in.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of conveniences there. There's the toilet tank. You've got water there. You could do your water bobs in those. You have a lot more supplies that are already there and ready to go. Tools and supplies. Even the basic stuff like gardening tools and things like that are already in your garage. Because those things are they're heavy and they're bulky and you can't really bug out with a lot of those convenient things. And basements are perfect for it.
They are, man.
They're cool. The temperature's easier to regulate. They're safe from bomb blasts even.
Yeah, safer anyways.
Cyclones too, maybe.
Yeah.
And then your family's just comfortable there, like Kobe said. The one thing about using your basement or your house as your bug-in plan, you've got, however many square feet you want to isolate it into 1 or 2 areas.
Yeah.
It's just easier to manage. It's easier to watch over people. And then we'll talk a little about the security too is a lot better that way.
And obviously that really depends on what your situation is. If it's a relatively innocuous SHTF situation where it's just maybe the lights are out, there's no power for a week or so, everybody's all right, nobody started freaking out, then you don't need to worry about a lot of this, but sometimes you might have to, depending on what it is.
So if you are a lucky soul and you have a bunker that's just either in your garage or out in your yard, man, that would be the ultimate blessing.
I just want to visit somebody who has a cool bunker.
I know, me
at their
too.
house.
I just want to dig a hole and start making something this summer.
I'm just thinking about digging a hole.
I'm just going to blast a big old hole in my garage, pad, like in the cement pad, and just tell my wife, I'm starting something here.
It's happening.
It's going to be built. So yeah, that's another option. It's obviously just like a basement. It's perfect for regulating temperatures. It's easy to secure. It's just one of the ultimate places to do. Other options, maybe a vehicle. You have it all stocked out. If you're, constantly at work and you're right in the middle of the city, that may be your best bug out location.
Or like an RV or something like that.
Yeah.
You never know.
Just leave your RV parked.
Yep.
Out front.
Absolutely.
Don't you go fall in love with it. Taking it with me here next month. So yeah, a vehicle could be a very good bug out location that we've talked about in previous episodes. So if you're an apartment, that's going to be your bug out location. We've talked about that in other episodes too. You've got limited space. You got to be very creative with where to store your items and how to hide them and how to secure yourself. Plus, you got to deal with neighbors and locations. Like in that American Blackout, the freaky thing was like elevators are down. Their electronic locks they couldn't even get out. So a lot of things to consider there with that location, but it's a safe point for you and. You have a lot more there than you would anywhere else in that city.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyway, those are some of the locations. So going into the things the important things you need to have in your bug out plan. Obviously,
bug in plan.
Bug in. Sorry. Number 1, water. Obviously, rule of thumb. We've talked about this: 1 gallon per person for drinking, cooking, and washing.
Yeah, and that could be insufficient. We've talked about that before.
Probably will be, honestly.
But if you can get that much, you're going to be doing okay.
Yeah. So if you can, the best thing is if you can get, and this is still quite extensive, is to have a 2-week supply of water on hand that's already clean. You don't need to filter it or anything for your family. At least that's way ahead of most people.
It's way ahead of like 99% of people probably.
And then you don't have to risk going out into the public and their chaos and all that's going on. Obviously, 3 to 6 months is the ultimate goal, the long-term goal that I kind of have, because it's really hard to store
that much water.
It's hard.
It
is a freaking ton.
So you have to think about. You'll probably get to some of this, but you can think about. You have that water stored in your. In the back of your toilets,
Exactly.
you have it in your water heater.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so I know I've got another
burn
60
through some of that
gallons
stuff
there
first, and but that'll take so much stress off you, because that's the thing that's going to kill you the fastest if it's unavailable.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's good about bugging in is you have those resources that are there all the time. Extra, just that water heater.
Yeah,
and
you got
those
pipes that you
toilets,
can drain down into your
sprinkler systems.
sprinklers. You
got
suck it all out.
Exactly.
Nobody knows what you're even doing. You just go start sucking on them all.
Exactly.
First things first. So storage containers, bottles, buckets, barrels, tanks, doesn't matter. You just need to get it stored up. I mean, we've been using juice containers and everything, and everybody will freak out. Oh, the sugar's in there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like, that water's still going to be
water.
available, and it's used, and I know it's clean.
If you have to
I know
boil
it can be prepared.
You can boil it. You know what I mean?
Yep. And then consider how are you going to replenish that water when your supplies exhaust? How far are you from a river? Obviously, these things can be contaminated, but ponds, river, a well would be the ultimate thing. A rain catchment system. How would you do it around your house? And how would you collect it and store it? A cistern and things like that. To prepare your water, you need to have you need to know all these different methods. One, so the filter. obviously, Sawyer Mini is like one of our favorites because it's portable.
Yep.
It filters a ton of water. It's 100,000 gallons.
100,000 gallons.
And most contaminants are filtered out. There are some more extreme filters that are real expensive, like a Berkey type filter.
Yeah.
Those suckers can, like chlorinated water, you could suck a pool dry.
Yeah. They're
And-
awesome. They're expensive.
They're
though.
very expensive. So you could go extreme. If you live in a neighborhood with a bunch of pools, that water is usable if you have the right type of filter. And those even can filter out heavy metals and poison stuff, which is crazy. But they're very expensive. Other ways, boiling water, have methods to do that. We'll talk a little more about that later. Solar heat, you can actually make, I was reading about this, you can do a cardboard box, line it with tin foil, and then you cover it with glass, put it out in the sun if you're in a hot area.
Yeah.
And you're not using any energy there but the sun, and it'll actually sterilize most water.
Yeah.
Maybe not to drink, but I mean, it would, but
Even
if you're
just
a
the
little
sun.
uncomfortable with that, you can use it for sanitation reasons, stuff like that.
Yeah. Even just the sun's rays will do.
Yeah,
Like if you
the
leave it
UV
in a
rays
clear
are-
bottle. Yeah.
They'll nuke everything.
Yeah. Sure.
Condensation, you can just collect the when you boil water, you can use that. That's very sterile. Eliminates a lot of the chemicals and stuff too. And then you've got those fancy, what are those little packets, you just throw in, and they use like osmosis. Remember, it's like sucks the water and
yeah,
fills
that's
it.
right.
So there's all kinds of different ways. Just have a variety of those to prepare your water, even if you've stored it in a suboptimal container,
Yeah.
you at least have a way to sterilize it.
And I think when it comes to water and bugging in, the biggest thing is having a well. If you have the means to do it, if you have a well and it has like a backup hand pump, like there's no better
There really
solution.
isn't.
You know what I mean?
It's hard to get down and contaminate that water.
Yeah, it is. So
So now the next obvious, most important thing would be food. So a lot of people talk about, a lot of different forums, websites say, have at least, and this all comes down to a good inventory, 2 weeks of your most common foods.
yes,
Honestly, if you were to like stretch out what you have now, that's probably roughly there. But you need to know.
it depends though. Some people just don't have that much food on hand.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Like,
Depending a lot on their location.
I think I could probably stretch out just my pantry like a month if I
Yeah,
had to.
I think I could
You know
too.
what I mean? But some people just don't have it.
No,
It's,
we have way too much junk in there.
Yeah.
Plus, half of it won't get eaten.
Yeah.
So my kids starve to death. So 2 weeks of the most common stuff you eat every day, that's also going after like your refrigerated and your freezer stuff immediately after you lose power and things like that. And then you need to, like, the best kind of long-term goal is to get 3 months for all members of your family.
And it's harder than you think.
That's a lot more food than you think. Yeah.
I thought I was close. Like,
Yeah, you went through it all, huh? Just
Yeah.
recently to like really see your calorie needs and everything.
and I had about half as much as I thought. As
And
far
I bet
as
you
length.
I need to go through mine. I have quite a few.
You have a little more than I do, I think.
I have quite a few of those. They're like 36,000 calorie buckets full of probably horrible tasting stuff. But I have some Wise Foods. I have some Patriot Pantry ones. I bet you if I go through it with my family of 5, I bet you I'd be pushing probably 6 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, I bet you had 6 weeks.
I
yeah.
bet you that's where I'm at.
And
with
it
my
looks
whole
like,
family.
It looks like a lot too.
It does.
It looks like a
takes
ton.
up a ton
Yeah.
of space. So 3 months is a very good goal. If you can get a month, that's still excellent and way, way above average. I mean,
Yeah.
like Kobe said, probably 90% of people aren't going to even be there.
More than 90. I'd say 95%.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, good places to store, obviously. Cool, dark, dirty, wet, damp. Not good.
Yeah.
And then quick meals, the freezer dried foods, they're not the best tasting, no matter how well they've been prepared. So, but they last forever. So these are the things you shoot for those long storage periods. Because then if you forget them, they're typically still good. Other things are these freezer dried foods and long term storage foods aren't optimal for nutrition. So you're going to want that's where like SurvivaGuard seriously is an
Yeah.
excellent choice to have because you can store it in a number 10 can.
Yep.
And then add it along with your food.
That's the thing. You can look at the nutrients you're getting with those freeze-dried foods, and you're going to be lacking. There's
Right.
just no way to get around it.
Yeah.
And so you need it's a good idea to have something to supplement that.
Exactly.
That's where SurvivaGuard is.
And
a
you're
good idea.
limited to, you may be in that basement most of the time. You
Yeah.
don't have, sunlight. You're going to lack vitamin D, all those other
For
things.
sure.
So you really do need to supplement the nutrients you're going to get from the food storage. So, and just real quick, some of the calorie needs, we've talked about this before. The adult human female species needs about 2,000 calories, 2,500 for a male.
Yeah.
This is, you can cut it down, lower.
I think you could cut 500 off of that and be
You
okay.
could, yeah. So this is a comfortable living. This is to not be stressed out. You have food. You're not worried about really stretching out your food. And this can be calculated to kind of see, if I buy this bag of rice, I'll need this many. And it's just kind of an easy, quick rule of thumb. Children, usually 1,000 to 1,400 up to age 2. And then after that, they're close to an adult. 1,500 to 2,000 is needed. They're growing and they're active and hyperactive and loud, and they ruin your life.
Annoying.
So anyway, 30 days, expect 60,000 calories for a woman, 75,000 calories for a man.
That's a lot.
Other ways so outside of your food storage and things like that, you want to think of, how can I be restocking this food and not having to go scavenge and all that. Seeds, the sprout types, they don't need hardly anything, not much light. They don't need nutrients and water, and the sprouts are edible and they can give you some real good boosts. Everybody loves sprouts. Heirloom seeds are obviously really important, which is nice. They come in survival boxes.
Yeah. Every box. Yeah.
They, you just grow and then dry out seeds, put them back in. Boom. Just keep going and going and going. Livestock, Kobe has chickens, which is nice because chicken's good. Eggs are good.
The chickens have been awesome. Like, it's such an easy thing to do too with the chickens. Like, before SHTF happens, that's when you're going to want to get it started. You don't want to try to figure it out afterwards. But it's just great to every day you're getting eggs. You know what I mean? And that could keep you alive if you had to. If you just had to eat eggs, you would be fine.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You'd have all the stuff you can make from those and combine with everything,
Yeah.
Add a little to your MRE.
Exactly.
You love it.
Yeah. Eggs
MRE omelet. Dang.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, those
great.
are an awesome livestock to have.
And they eat anything pretty much, man. You can throw them scraps. You can just let them out in the yard. You can let them out in the field. They will eat, and you probably won't even need to feed them until winter comes.
Yeah.
And then it gets harder.
But that'd be awesome. I need to have some chickens.
Yeah, you do.
I decided right now.
Okay.
Obviously, if you have some cattle,
Yeah.
like my family lives on a dairy farm, that would be a pretty sweet scenario. The only downside would be other a-holes.
We're coming to your dad's house.
We are.
In a big event.
Hey, we're here to eat everything.
Yeah.
And milk.
And milk. That includes everything.
So swine, stinky mother, and but yeah, you can get a lot of food out of those. Hamster rump, we talked about those are delicious.
That is pretty funny.
Goats are really good. Milk, cheese, they eat friggin' everything.
Yep.
They eat bullets,
They do.
metal,
Yep.
shoes,
Cans.
weeds.
Yeah, it doesn't
thistle,
matter. They'll eat anything.
sticker weeds,
Your mom's food.
your MREs,
Yeah.
your MRE wrappers.
They will probably.
I bet they would too. And sheep. Hey, you get
Yeah.
lamb chops and you can make a dang coat.
That's right.
So anyway, those are the kind of more extreme things, but you got to think ahead,
Yeah, you absolutely do. So once you kind of have your water, you kind of have your food, like we talked about earlier a little bit, you need to have some sort of a security plan because after this SHTF scenario gets progressing and it gets worse or it gets further along, people are going to get more desperate every day, right? So you have to have a way to be able to protect your family, your group, your food, your house, everything. So here's just a few tips.
Humans are the worst species.
They really
on
are.
Earth.
Here's some few tips that you can think about now that will help you in one of these scenarios. Obviously, if you're holding up in your house, have several exits ready at all times because if one of them gets blocked off and you and you only had one, well, now what are you going to do, dumb? You're screwed, right? It's not a bad idea to start with a basic security system for your home.
Yeah.
I think they're great. Everybody should have one.
I'm not worried about the good exits. My kids leave the front, back door,
Oh, I
side door,
know.
windows. Leave them all open.
Yeah, I know.
I can get out anytime I want.
But if you still have power throughout this situation, then that security system is going to be freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And it's great every day just to keep your house from being broke into. A perimeter fence is always a good thing because it will slow intruders down. It gives them one more thing to think about before they get up into your grill. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna wait a minute. A
there's-
chain link fence here.
What is vinyl fence? I don't know what to do.
Screw it. Next house, boys. Let's go.
But seriously, though, a lot of times that's what will happen. They're going to find a place that's easier, right?
Right.
You just want to make it a little hard enough that they
Just
think
stick a
about
sign of a security system out in your yard. That's all you need.
A
to
lot
do.
of people do that.
I know.
They really do.
I know.
If you have gates, have locks on them so you can just lock them up. So, again, they can't just walk right through the gate. They're going to have to hop it. You know, and for like a 350-pound sucker that can't hop
And then
it.
you just glue razor blades on the top.
And then they feel
Put their
stupid.
hand on it.
And they're bleeding. Tripwire alarms are nice things to have around and ready for these situations. We did a video on, what were those ones called?
Yeah, these are way easier to get and
Yeah.
use than
Do you
I ever
remember
thought.
what that brand was that we got of those tripwire alarms?
Fifth.
Fifth Ops. That's right.
Fifth
Yeah,
Ops.
Fifth Ops. Really cool tripwire alarms.
They're
Super easy to set
cool.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
so much
shotgun
fun.
shells basically filled full of. You can get
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
ones with they're just super loud for one. Two, they have like
Flare ones.
they have the flare ones and then the freaking the pepper spray
they do
ones.
have
They,
pepper
they
spray.
just blow a bunch
Yeah.
of pepper spray up into the air.
So
That would be
I,
fun.
I think if you had something like that ready, so like when something happens, you could set a few of them up, so that way you
Put them in your two front doors and go out in the basement. You know,
exactly, and then you
if
know
anything,
what's
you
going
just
on.
scare somebody off.
Exactly, that's what we hope.
Neighbors.
Yep. If you have a front doors, get a peephole, dumb. You can see out the door. I don't
have
have one.
peepholes everywhere.
I need to get one. I need to get one. So at least you can see who's out there. If someone's like, "Hey, it's Jim," and you look out there, it's not Jim.
Hey, what's your lights going on down there?
It's not Jim.
Yeah.
So you're like, "You're not Jim. I'm not letting you in." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
at least you can have a visual on them, and without them seeing you, which is good.
Yeah, right, Jim. I can see your face.
Yeah, Jim.
Dan.
Dan.
Nice try.
Nice try, Dan. A vicious dog is always a good thing to have. They're scary. They're loud. They're
loud.
They're fun to pet. They're nice. You can eat them later on. They're just
a vicious dog is way fun to pet.
they're nice for you, not
Yeah,
for the intruder, right? Actually, any kind
Just
of dog.
keep poking it, like get it super pissed and like a mean. This sucker's gonna be great in the apocalypse.
He's just doing his
He's
apocalypse
pissed at
training.
everybody.
Kick
Just
him
let
every
him
time
loose
you
in the
walk
yard. I can't even get out of my own house.
Worth it. So a lot of people have the things like the Ring doorbell, and outdoor cameras and stuff. Obviously, can be great if you have power, but really can help with security. Shrubs and bushes near the windows are always good. It's hard for intruders to get into a window if it's covered by really thorny bushes or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Makes it much harder.
Ow.
I did write out on there.
Owie.
Must have deadbolts on all your exterior doors. If you don't have a deadbolt, just go do
Then
it.
you're a deadbolt.
Yeah. Go do it now, dum-dum. You got to get it done. Deadbolts are really you have to have it because it's so easy to
Casual
get.
Preppers, a podcast for dum dums.
Bunch of dum-dum listeners don't have deadbolts or shrubs. Yeah, so make sure that you have deadbolts, and like we've talked about this several times, is that you can get those.
What is this book about? It's like just listen to talk about surviving in an apocalypse. Bushes, thorny bushes,
Thorny bushes. Ow.
vicious dogs.
The door reinforcement kits that you can get from pretty much any hardware store will really help reinforce your doors. Obviously.
So are those are they like rails and stuff that
Yeah.
go above and below, and you can
Really the biggest part I think is in the door jamb where the knob is, so you can't just kick it open,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so it reinforces that piece with metal, so that it's much harder to kick open.
Standard Lowe's will carry that.
Yep, 60,
Ace-
70
Ace
bucks you can
hardware?
get them. Yep. Door wedges are another thing you can do. Wooden dowels in your windows and your sliding glass doors. Those are obviously always a good idea. We've talked about this before too. The security film for windows. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's basically a film it's clear. You put it on your window and it makes it much harder to break.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Almost like a windshield.
Yep, exactly. Cam talked about this a little bit earlier, kind of having a designated safe room or a safe area in your home that you can kind of a little retreat to if stuff starts getting crazy outside.
Cry room.
Cam calls it his cry room, but something that has a door on it that you can lock from the interior. It's nice if it can have a bathroom. You can have water, food, and supplies, so that if you have to hole up in there for a few days, you're not pooping in the corner of a room. It's bad, by the way. We're going to talk about sanitation later.
I have pooped in the corner. It's not good.
It's not a fun experience. Firearms, obviously, shotguns, pistols, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Close range stuff.
Yes, have it. Pepper spray and tasers are kind of like alternate stuff if you don't like guns, or if you live somewhere.
There's even YouTube videos. You can have a little remote gun.
Exactly.
Scariest thing on earth.
Yes, absolutely. I wrote tactical geese on here just because we have to mention tactical geese. Consider keeping keeping lights away from windows and stuff in these situations if the power's out. Again, like I said, so somebody doesn't notice that you got lights on. It's like, well, how the hell does he have lights? I'm gonna have to go check this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or black out the window so they can't see it. It's something to think about to not show off. Hey,
I have so Google has routines, and I've been setting up one for Google apocalypse. And it's just gonna shut off all
blackouts, everything.
Yeah,
that's awesome. When stuff starts to get really bad,
probably be down at that point.
I know.
Power's off. Hey Google. Hey Google.
Just yelling at people.
Everything's dark. What are you trying to do?
When it gets really bad, probably having watch shifts is a good idea. Having people look out at your house to make sure nobody's coming in, right? Mm-hmm. And like I've always said, keep a roll of razor wire ready to go for the apocalypse. All right?
Just never know.
You just don't know. So
I'm gonna throw some up this week.
No, I'm just saying have a roll in the backyard or in the shed or something that you could pull out when stuff gets hairy. Let's start talking about.
Looks great for Halloween events.
It really
too.
does. Some useful gear for a bug-in situation, Cameron. One of the things is lighting, because we don't know what the power situation is going to look like. It's a good idea to have alternate lighting for these bug-in situations.
Don't hide your light under a bushel.
Yeah. The city set on a hill cannot be hid. Something like that. A bug-in situation on a hill cannot be hid. There's always basics like candles and flashlights, obviously. Every prepper has those things. Everyone should have both of those. So there's some long-term solutions, like solar lights are always on the top of my mind, because I just got the BioLite Solar Home 620.
Have you set that sucker up?
I've used it, but I don't have it set up
I was thinking of
permanently.
making my little kids' playhouse. I'm like, I'm gonna set that in there.
That'd be a good
See
idea.
how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. There's solar lights everywhere that you can get tons of solar lights, and they're actually really cheap now. So just get a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, freaking dollar store even has those little solar garden lights.
Exactly. Generators, if you have the means, get a generator.
No, I'd love
it
one.
makes a whole lot of sense. But again, you have to have fuel for it. You have to have a restocking plan for that fuel.
And they're loud.
So I just don't feel like it's a really long-term solution, but unless you have like a solar generator or something like that. Oil lanterns, those are classic. You have several of those, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hand crank lanterns. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's basically just like a crank flashlight or a radio.
Yeah.
Somebody actually said get night vision goggles for the whole family.
That's a good idea.
It's just like as soon as the sun goes down, just click those suckers on, and you can see, and nobody else can.
It's true. It's true.
So, anyways, yeah, that's some lighting.
Kids, I know you wanted stuff for Christmas, but I think you're gonna love what we have.
You're gonna love this.
The whole family's got matching night vision goggles.
Yeah,
Just got them.
got your names engraved on
I would
them.
love that.
I know it'd be cool, huh?
But yeah, that's probably pricey.
It probably is.
So that food's got to be prepared somehow. A lot of them can just be added. You can just add hot water to them and they're good to go. But
Yeah.
sometimes getting hot water is tricky.
It is.
Without power. So a couple of options to be able to cook your food and boil your water. I'm going to talk about it right now.
Let's do it.
So the camp stove, obviously it's propane. It's not the best indoor, but outside the doorstep or even upstairs if you're not staying in there, you could use your camp stove
Next to a window.
Yeah,
Window
there are
open.
protein. There's protein burning ones. It's amazing.
It's propane. Dum-dum.
It's butane. What was
Yeah.
that one gas that we came up
Protein.
with?
It was
Was it protein?
protein, yeah.
Was it? You found it?
Yeah.
Protein gas.
Yeah.
Brand new, space
Yeah.
treated. It's amazing. It uses solar power and stars. So The one thing is there are actually camp stoves that are rated to be used indoors with propane. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Well, now you do.
Anyway, Jetboil, pretty cool little flash personal cooking system.
Yeah.
Can heat up a single meal or water. So check them out.
And they're tiny.
Yeah. Portable solar water heater. These are these costly? Have you looked into?
I haven't looked into
haven't
those. So I
either.
don't know.
Anyways, this you can do kind of a homemade solar water heater or solar oven. And that's another thing. Is solar oven's a really good option. You can probably try and do it yourself, kind of make your own thing. I'm thinking about doing it this summer.
I set
in
a
fact.
chicken out on the back porch. It didn't cook.
Tied it up, hung it upside down.
Got to figure out another method. That didn't work.
Just had a mirror pointing right at it. Burned a hole on the one side.
Just had my wife glare at it. Didn't work.
She stared at me and the chicken twice.
Yeah.
Hydro heat's pretty cool. Those are those little chemical. You throw the pack in, it's like a hand warmer, and it just starts steaming. They get hot. It's like 120 degrees, 140. Those are awesome.
Burn your damn hand.
It
I'll tell you
will,
that.
sure will. That steam is hot.
Yeah.
Those are cool because they like the kits come in the container that you put the water in, and then it's got a little metal container. They're real good. You should check them out.
You absolutely
A couple
should.
different companies that make those. Kobe talked about a generator, which can be useful in a lot of ways for lighting, power a microwave, different cooking things. But exhaust is an issue regardless of what type, unless the solar powered ones obviously are okay. But a lot of them, the oil motor and everything is going to give off some toxic stuff. So you want to either have some really nice setup to where the exhaust is being evacuated and blown out from the basement if you have it down there. Otherwise, you're dead.
You're going to die.
A wood burning stove would be awesome. That's one thing I really wish I had.
That's on my list.
Because if it's, chimneyed out, is
Yeah.
that even a verb?
Yes. Duh. No, I'm actually finishing my basement right now, and I'm kind of leaving a spot for
That's so awesome.
my
You got a plan for it.
wood stove. So I'm
Because
I'm
those,
excited.
yeah, you can cook everything on them. They can heat your whole friggin' area.
Yeah.
Like they're just the ultimate. And I mean, obviously, still wood's a fuel, but you can burn furniture, you burn
you
toys.
You can. Yeah.
So they're great. I've been looking into like the tent stove type of wood burning stove. They even have kits that go through the window so that you have a vented, and they're pretty sweet too. They have like an inline exhaust where it's a little oven so
Yeah.
that the smoke goes around, and you can cook stuff in there. You can boil water. It even has like a little reservoir that
Yep.
connects to the
It's
side. of it.
freaking sweet.
Those are so cool.
And they're actually relatively inexpensive, man.
Yeah,
Like
I think
$300 or
yep.
something.
I think I really want to get one and just stick it in my garage.
Yep.
For an emergency, it would be awesome. Having Dutch ovens really nice too, because those things are indestructible. They can heat for long periods. They can keep heat for long periods.
Yeah.
And you just stick them on coals either from your wood burning, so you can pull that out and cook some Dutch oven. Oh, it just sounds great. One of the most important things with all of this is you really need to get a good thermometer. After I used your meat one, I went and bought one because I'm like, you're going to use it for, you can check, maybe you're making taffy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Boiling water, you want to make sure you're at the right temperature. It even was accurate enough to check my body temperature.
Was it?
Stuck it right up my butt.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't tell you that's what I used that one for before
Yeah.
I let you use it.
I wondered because I was like, I'm getting one, and I got one, and
Yeah.
it's been those versatile thermometers will
Yeah.
come in super
They are
handy.
great.
Make sure you don't get food poisoning because that would be awful.
Yeah, that would not
Make
be
sure
good.
your water's being sterilized properly at the right heat. But anyways.
Yeah, so that's good stuff. So another thing about a bug-in situation is keeping your home warm, and this is one that we come back to quite frequently. Again, talking about the wood-burning stove, that's the ultimate, I think, when it comes down to it, because you can
It
burn
is.
pretty much anything. It's really it does a really good job of heating a house. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't matter how
crazy
big
how
your
much-
house is; it's insane. And you can also cook on it and those types of things. So the basics is what you should start with, though. Extra blankets and warm clothes in the house if you have to, you can keep yourself warm that way.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck, but you can do it. You know, you can blanket off a room and in the windows and under
Yeah.
the doors, and you can get under a bunch of blankets with beanies on, and you're probably gonna be fine.
I'm gonna get under some blankets.
Yeah, you are right now. You could all huddle in a room. You're gonna be okay. You can put up a tent like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the tent with a bunch of people, and it's gonna be really fun and really comfortable. And so you know how it is when you go camping.
Hey, if it's pitched on the carpet with
Yeah.
padding, it's probably going to be way better.
Won't be too bad. Something that I got this year that I'm pretty excited about is the Mr. Buddy propane heater that's rated for inside. So basically, you can use like your normal propane tank, or you can just use the little camping propane bottles,
Right.
which are fantastic. So that's sort of like a short-term solution that I've come up with. If the power goes out for a week or something, I can keep my house warm.
Yeah,
or not
those
my
are
house,
sweet.
but a room at least warm.
My room.
Your room. I'm going to take it to Cam's house is what's going to happen. And then also, like those oil lamps and lanterns actually will give off some heat. So if you're confined to a small space, it's another way to try and keep yourself warm. And obviously, keep your house in, don't let it go into disrepair. Make sure that you have plenty of insulation and all those types of things so that you're not losing heat unnecessarily, right?
Yeah.
So there's heating.
So now cooling. Now you're
opposite.
too hot. How do
Yeah.
I get cooled off?
Yeah.
So with these two things, Kobe and I have always talked about, no matter what, when something happens, it's going to be either midsummer, right in the middle, or it's going to be like January.
Yep,
Guaranteed.
exactly.
Depending on where you live. I'm talking about Utah here.
Yeah.
It's going to be either freezing or too hot. So ways to cool. Basement, obviously, like I said, is an easier place to regulate your temperatures for heat and for keeping cool.
It's the greatest place in the house.
It is the most wonderful place on earth.
It is.
Basement Nation came from
That's
basements.
right.
That was
we
our
came,
old podcast.
We were born out of the basement.
That's true. You merely adopted the basement.
You merely adopted the basement.
So blackout curtains are excellent for keeping out too much sunlight to help keep an area cool. Plus, nobody can see you.
Yeah.
You can be super private. Blackout
You
curtains.
can do whatever you want in there.
You can do whatever you want.
Having a jolly old time.
Jolly. There's some cool videos showing like solar fans, solar bucket fans, even like 5-gallon swamp cooler fans. Those are so cool. Like they're just cool.
Literally.
But, basically, you just cut a fan into the top of the bucket and you use those. You can either use like a swamp cooler filter that will draw the water up, and then you just poke holes on the outside, so it's just pushing out the cooler air. Those are real simple. And a generator, even some of them, those little fans are so small. The little USB powered ones, you could just run off from a battery pack.
Yeah.
And then battery fans, obviously, there's a lot of those that'll take D batteries that are a fortune and run dead way faster than they should.
They do.
The other kind of unique methods are the rubbing alcohol ice pack. So if you made these, you actually just mix a cup of alcohol with 2 cups of water and you freeze it, and those suckers stay super cold for a long time.
Really?
The alcohol keeps
What do you
them
put
way
them
cold.
in? Like a Ziploc bag or
just
something?
a freezer bag. So it's like an ice pack, but the alcohol keeps it a lot cooler and it stays frozen longer. So those are things you just have them in your freezer to conserve energy, and then hey, when you need them, you love them.
Yeah, it sounds good, man.
So for the other major thing is communications. You want to stay in contact with whatever's going on outside. If they're, maybe your town has moved into martial law, or maybe a nuclear strike has wiped out everything. You're the only town still alive.
Yeah.
You need to know what's going on and communicate maybe with your neighbors too. So some options for communications, and we've talked about this. This is a subject that we're just not experts on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options. I'm just going to go real quick over just a few. So radios, obviously, there's the solar powered hand crank and battery powered radio. Actually, you can get like the what's the one that
The Kato.
the Kato one. It will charge by all 3 of those. Has a rechargeable battery in it. You can put batteries in it. You can hand crank it, and you can put it in the sun.
Yeah.
So those are awesome. Even for entertainment, a little morale booster too. Ham radios are like the ultimate communication. Does require a license and a smart person
Yeah.
and
That's the
time
thing,
to
man.
get a license.
Yeah.
Walkie talkies are good. short range. I mean, they can go up to, they say 5 miles, but literally only 200 feet, I think.
Line of sight.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But Kobe and I, we got some through BattleBox, and they what are we, probably half mile, probably 2 or 3 miles apart.
We're probably about 2 miles away from each other.
And we can get a pretty clear signal.
Yeah, and that's just, I was in my basement.
Oh,
when I was
really?
doing
See,
that.
yeah, I was up in the top by the chimney.
Yeah, yeah. You were on the roof. But yeah, we can reach each other pretty easily.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of one of our backup communication plans between the two of us, at least, that we can hop on there. We know what channel we're getting on. We can say, hey, you're dumb. You're dumb too. Let's be dumb together. And then we can get together if we need to, whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And walkie-talkies are nice too. So if you go scavenging, you have a way to communicate, you know, when all of your other electronic crap's shot. A megaphone. I put that in there because you just want to piss people off.
Yeah.
Mesh network is a little more complicated. We tried the Gotenna. They're just a little device that can relay off from each other. They kind of they just bounce off each other, and you can actually connect your phone and send text through them. Anyways, look into those. They're actually a pretty sweet device to be able to communicate. And then your satellite devices are expensive. Typically, you require a subscription, and but
They're expensive.
yeah, they're awesome though, because you can navigate with them. Some of them have maps, and unless satellites get destroyed during the apocalypse, you should have some signal.
CB radios are good as well.
Oh yeah, did I not put that in there? I thought I did.
I didn't see CB radios, but yeah, those are great.
There's a dot for it.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I think it got deleted.
invisible.
But yeah, CB radios. And there's some more different complex ones. We actually want to kind of go into comms a little more extensive later. Medications. So you need to have a good med kit. You could get carried away here real easily. You're not going to be performing surgery. Maybe you have some skill to do, and more power to you. But basically, you need to have a good basic med kit that has a lot of variety in it. And I'm just going to go real quick over some of these things. Meds, you want to have fever reducer and a pain reliever, Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen, just varieties, and liquids for kids. Stomach meds, Pepto, antacids, and nausea and vomiting prevention medications. Most are over the counter.
But go get some freaking Zofran. If
Seriously, pooper issues.
Yeah.
Imodium is most commonly used, even recommended through ER and urgent care. Like most people look for something even better, but Imodium is still one of the best to use. Anti-nausea, get some Zofran. It's great for. It doesn't make you drowsy. You can still function on it. Most of the providers would write for it. It's really a pretty safe medication. Tums are nice for antacids, and kids like to eat their candy.
Yes, sir.
Antibiotics. Just get a few variety classes. Get some amoxicillin, doxycycline, Bactrim, cephalexin, Cipro. That covers a wide range of bacterial infections. Antihistamines, obviously, can help kids sleep, help you sleep. Benadryl is actually useful for anxiety as well. Help you to sleep. It lasts in your system from the first day you ever took it. I still have some in my system. Still tired from it.
Yeah.
And it can help with anxiety or insomnia too, that you or your family might go through. And it's a really safe medicine for most ages. Fatigue and stuff, if you have to get out and do stuff, you haven't slept, you're panicking, caffeine pills are actually pretty useful to have. Just a little pick-me-up. You can add it to drinks. It's just an option that's available over the counter, so might as well throw it in there.
I've learned that meth is good for that too.
I like that
just
too.
Just like a little bit in a soda.
Your cold meds, because nothing's more annoying than your kids sleeping right next to you, coughing, and they can't sleep. We've talked about the uses of honey. Good for sore throats, good for coughing, and so get a bunch of honey. And then just these things are all available. You might as well just have some backups, cough drops, things like that.
Yeah.
Albuterol if you're asthmatic. If you're not, it's nice if you can have a nebulizer machine to deliver a little more medication. You never know with the debris or whatever's happening how sensitive your lungs are, your kids, and things like that. So most, you can just ask a provider for that, and they'll typically give you a prescription for it. It's not anything dangerous. Epinephrine would be nice to have, obviously, if you do have severe allergies, but if you could get a EpiPen. Quick Clot, you can get those over the counter too, just to kind of help bleeding. Probably a little more extensive than what you need. And then if you take prescription medications, at least 6 weeks worth.
That's hard.
I know. It is hard. Most of the time you can get 90 days of most medications, but you need to have that supply. If any way you can talk to your medical provider about giving you an extra, 300 pills of your Oxy just in case. In case.
Just in case.
He or she will feel totally comfortable doing that. But no, you can usually get supplies or samples to push you out so that you don't have to worry about those issues, and that'll give you enough time to find replacements. So bandages, just your basic Band-Aids, some gauze in rolls or 4x4s, tape, some antibacterial ointment and Vaseline even for to help with if you have different rashes, eczema, things like that. Even just Vaseline's helpful. Steri strips are great. They can be used in place of stitching if you need. Dermabond glue. You can buy this on Amazon too.
This stuff's freaking awesome.
It is. It's you can use super glue, and super glue works about the same. The Dermabond seems to be a little more flexible and it bonds a little better, and usually the applicator is easier to use. And then throw a few sutures in there. We talked about getting a box of those. So some tools, you can actually buy the otoscope, like to look in your ears. You can get like a little cheap one just so you can see, if your kids are all pissed and you want to know what's going on. You could at least look in their ears and see if it's bright red and bulging. A light, obviously, to look in their nose and eyes and throat. Scissors, needle drivers, Coban wrap, Ace bandages, Sam splint, syringes, and needles. These are all just real basic things that you can get anywhere, Walgreens even. I don't know about the syringes, but you can buy I know you can buy the empty syringes from Amazon. And then liquids, have some sterile water that can be used for medical purposes only. Alcohol and the Hibiclens or any of those sanitary chemicals that are used to clean wounds that are safe on skin, stuff like that. And then last is just some other useful gear to consider. If you're bugging in, you're probably going to have these at home anyway. Axe and shovel and pry bar, just depending on what you need to go find and get.
Yeah.
One thing is your power drills. Those, if you have your batteries charged, those. Have you ever tried to crank like an emergency flashlight and actually get it to stay on longer than 2 seconds?
Yeah, it doesn't. You have to constantly
so you
crank
could take that off and just use like your DeWalt and just
that's a good
charge
idea.
it all the way up. So power drills can be useful for different means other than if you're not building, you can use it to actually charge some of those devices. Batteries, obviously, have a bunch of those. Just packs of a variety: AAA, AA, double D, C cup, things like that.
All that stuff. Yeah,
and then
really
your
good.
power packs. We talked about the Mugu one that we have.
Yep.
Charge all kinds of different devices.
Gulu one, right?
Gulu, not Mugu. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
What is Mugu?
I have no idea. That's why I was like, Mugu?
Sorry, that's
Gulu.
that's a startup company I've been working with.
Shouldn't have said that. That was too early. Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about another thing you need to be thinking about, which is sanitation. This comes back to staying healthy and not dying in your own feces, right? So,
and I'll be honest, this is one even I overlooked.
it's hard.
Like-
It's hard to figure out, really. So sanitation kind of basically comes down to getting rid of waste and keeping things clean. That's sanitation, right? So the number one thing is one of the things that Cam talked about is water. You need to have your drinking water, but you also need to have enough water for washing up and for keeping things clean, keeping your body clean, keeping your food clean. One thing I do, and I think I've said this several times, but I think it's just such a good idea. Anytime we're done with a liquid laundry detergent, we fill it up with water, we put it in the basement, and then that can be used to clean up.
It's a great
to
idea.
whatever it is.
It's always
obviously.
like concentrated, so probably wash 16 more loads with just water.
Yeah, exactly. So just make sure that you have water set aside for sanitation needs because it's going to be every bit as critical as your drinking water. So you have to have it. Hopefully in one of these situations, the sewer system keeps flowing. It keeps working. You keep have water coming. You can flush the toilet. So as long as that happens, keep using your toilet, all right? As long as you can. If the water stops, that's where it gets more difficult. So if the water stops, but it's not backing up, you can just dump water in your toilet and it will flush automatically. So
It's a guarantee it's going to stop when you drop the biggest turd.
I
The
guarantee it.
stinkiest, biggest freaking log in there.
Apocalyptic SHTF shit. It will get backed up. Like,
Well, now we're done.
now we're done. But no, when that happens, obviously, keep using it until the sewer backs up. Once the sewer backs up, that's when you have to start looking at different things. But hopefully, or maybe you have a septic system.
Yeah.
Because if you have a septic
true, you can
system,
keep going.
those things can kind of keep going indefinitely as long as you keep them clean and free and all those types of things and the chemicals in them. So it's nice to have a septic and a well, right? So that way you can just keep going.
Not combined.
Not in the
Don't
same
link
thing.
them together.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that kind of, actually. And then, so if those things stop working, your next option could be the 5-gallon bucket method, right? Pooping in a bucket. The nice thing would be to have a little toilet seat on top of that bucket. Also, have some plastic bags. You need to have tons of garbage bags, but also, just like the plastic bags from Walmart or whatever, you can poop into those, tie them up, and then you have self-contained sewage, right? Whatever it might be. But just have a bunch of those so you're not just pooping in the bucket and having to wash it out every single time. You can have that down in there. You do your thing.
Human poop is freaking...
It's disgusting.
It's really... I don't know, can you even grow anything in it? It's like,
I doubt
it. Just cause a wasteland.
Bacteria is about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Toilet paper. Obviously, have lots of extra toilet paper or a way to wipe your rear end because it's going to be bad. And like I always say, when the apocalypse comes, you're going to be eating stuff you're not used to. You're going to be really stressed. So your bowels are going to be very angry at you. So have extra toilet paper, all right?
Spend a little money.
Spend some money right now and make
The
yourself
single
feel
ply
better later.
will make
Yeah.
your life a lot harder.
Another thing about sanitation is garbage. You're going to have a lot of garbage. You probably won't have as much as you usually do, but you're going to have garbage, and you have to get rid of it. You can't just have it sitting in the corner of the house.
No.
The garbage man's not going to come anymore, so you have to get rid of it. So that's why having extra garbage bags is a good thing. If you can, if it's safe, you can burn the garbage. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do that because you're going to big black plumes of smoke, and it's going to stink. But that's a good way to get rid of it and to keep everything sanitary. If not, you can bury it. That's what they're doing with it now, but that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
You have to dig holes
That's
to
a
do
big.
that.
That's a big hole to dig.
Yeah,
just for one bag.
So just be thinking at least about how you're going to get rid of your garbage because it's a problem, right? So also, if your sewer's not working, your toilets aren't working, you can dig a hole and poop in a hole if you need to. But remember, if you have a water source, be at least 100 feet from that water source because those two things...
Or go in your neighbor's yard.
Or go in your neighbor's yard because those things just don't mix, all right? The last thing to think
Poop
about...
water, not good.
It doesn't taste very good. The last thing is women's products. This is something you have to think about if you have women in your family or in your group because it's going to be a mess and you have to figure out a way to figure that out.
Yeah.
Have extra women's products. Some other things for sanitation: soap, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrushes, razors, dental floss, baking soda, deodorant, hand sanitizer, chapstick. All of those things have extra of at your house for sanitation in a bug-in scenario.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just real brief on the community and group. Obviously, some neighbors know you're prepping or you're into survival stuff, but you need to be very careful about that. Obviously, you never know who is going to be desperate enough to immediately know where to strike and go and get what they need. But it also can be extremely useful to know, the different professionals in your neighborhood and have a good relationship with them.
Absolutely.
Some are, like just in our two neighborhoods, we've got ex-military guys that know everything about guns. We have different like city workers, plumbing and contractors.
The emergency manager lives in your neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. So
Medical professionals.
these can be extremely helpful.
Pharmacists.
Yes. Yep. Unemployed guy.
Video production specialists.
Avid gamer.
Avid gamers.
Loud children that have no parental
Yeah.
watch. But yeah, knowing your neighborhood and a group is going to get you a lot further than being that lone wolf family. You're going to be, you're going to be more problematic if you don't have some relationship with these people that are around you, or it's dangerous for you. So, the group thing's a hard thing to kind of talk about and break down, and it's just use some common sense there.
Yeah.
Because you are going to need help with people, whether it be to go on scavenging runs, somebody to watch over your family that you trust, hunting, somebody that has skill in that. You're going to go out, leave people back. You've got to have this community or group. It obviously would be helpful if you had kind of some communication with them about these kind of things, just so you kind of know how it would work. But I think Kobe and I are good enough. We ain't going to involve anybody else.
No, just be me and you.
Yeah. So,
Not
anyways,
even the rest
that's
of
just
our
real
family.
quick on the community.
Hey, Cam, can we talk about Survivor Guard real quick?
Let's do it.
Survivor Guard is the ultimate vitamin formula for emergency preparedness, survival, and life. You will have confidence in the knowledge that you are getting 100% of all 13 essential vitamins, 8 essential minerals, 11 super antioxidants, healthy omega-3 fish oils, and a unique proprietary NutriPrep blend for physical and mental emergency preparedness. We are confident that you will experience a better overall sense of well-being, more energy with enhanced alertness, and increased ability to concentrate with greater endurance, and you will be best prepared physically and emotionally for whatever situation you face, no matter how extreme. Use coupon code CASUALPREPPERS for 20% off your order at survivaguard.com. We talked about this in the food section. You're going to be nutrient deficient. This is a great way to get those basic vitamins and minerals in your body.
Yep.
Survivaguard.com. Use our code CASUALPREPPERS.
Greater endurance right in there.
Exactly.
That's all you need to hear.
Yeah. Cam, I wrote down a bunch of stuff about get home bags, but this is kind of going on a little bit long, so I'm just going to briefly go over this. We've talked about get home bags before. We know we wanted to talk about it because it's a good way to get back to your bug-in situation if something goes down. So just think about having that get home bag. If you don't know what it is, basically it's a bag that you keep usually in your vehicle or at your place of work that has the equipment that you need to be able to get home, get back to your home base, get back to your family, get back to your supplies. So, like we've talked about, the average commute time in the United States is 25 minutes. That means you're probably going 10 to 20 miles from home. How long is it going to take you to walk? 4 to 5 to 6, 7 hours, right? So you have to have enough gear in this bag to get you back home in an SHTF scenario. So in
that scenario, you probably times that by 10.
Oh, yeah,
or
exactly.
100.
Yeah,
It's freaking
because it's going to be nuts. So obviously water, food, knife, communications, all those types of things need to be in this bag to get you back. So go listen to our Get Home Bag episode to get a real in-depth on the Get Home bags. We just don't want to talk a lot about it today because we got so much other stuff. So.
No, interestingly, I had a neighbor that I grew up down the road from us, the older guy, he went this winter up to Montana and they got stuck, a blizzard that closed the road behind him and in front of him. 2 days he was in his car.
No way.
He had semi-truck drivers and they were all like together. They were sharing food and snacks and things like that. But
Holy
2
cow.
days
That's crazy.
up in Montana.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, that would be terrible.
It's just another reason to have your vehicle
Exactly.
stocked.
So one thing, we talked about how they did like a trial of people staying in a bunker and they lost their minds like immediately, like really quick. And even though you're going to be with your family, you're probably going to start going a little bit stir crazy. You got to think about the ways to kind of maintain morale, help your kids and your family to not worry about what's going on outside and why we're doing this. Board games are excellent. Electronic devices, if they're not fried or there's any damage, save the charge.
Yes.
My kids, you can watch a movie and it just helps a ton with not being so stressed out about everybody feeling stressed out.
And it makes things feel a little more normal.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You remember in Signs where he's like, we got to do something normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, we can't stop. We can't keep. So they go to
It's
town.
true.
And they
You
go to
like-
get
yep.
pizza and they, you know what I mean? So as many things as you can do that feel normal, that feel comfortable, feel at home. Those are good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Blah, 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 blah. The very important thing about snacks and treats and, sweets, things like that, those are excellent morale boosters and they can help kids get through anything.
They really can.
So
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
need to, even though, maybe you're a health nut or a freak in that way. Yeah, you've got to have your treats. You got to have your Lay's potato chips and things like that. Things that are just like comfort foods.
The easiest thing is like hard candies because they'll last for freaking ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Just have a bunch of hard candies and kids they're happy, man.
Yep,
You know?
yep. And then toys, obviously, if you're in your home, that's even a lot easier to have those things to play with. movies, laptops to be able to watch films and things like that, and then books, activity books, skill books. You can read about what to do in an SHTF.
Yeah.
We even have a book out there.
We
They would teach you in the moment
exactly
that you need it.
Yeah.
So you just got to remember, if you're in these, everybody's going to be kind of freaking out. You're going to be high stress. Your kids are going to start wondering what the crap's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have ways to comfort people, yourself, and, just get fat. Eat a bunch of candies.
Yes, I agree. The last thing I want to talk about in debugging situation is always have a plan B and always have an exit strategy. Because even though you're bugging in, you can't always rule out that you're not going to bug out now, because you have to keep constantly evaluating what your situation is, right? So always be thinking about it. Always have that bug out plan. Even though our bug in plan is plan A, plan B needs to be ready, because bugging in might be great for a week, but after that week, it might not be the best situation. So just always be thinking about that, right? Always have an alternate bug in location if you can as well. I've thought about this too, like maybe my house isn't the best place to bug in. So maybe if it's a situation where I might bug out to my grandpa's house or something, because it's a better situation, right? Or bug out, which would be bugging in at his house, right? So just think about that. Maybe you can have several places that you can bug in to, type thing.
I'm coming to your house. So.
You are, yeah.
And then when that's exhausted, you're staying and I'm going back
You're
to my
going
house.
back to your house. Good idea.
Real quick, I want to talk about survival boxes.
Okay.
Survival boxes are the only subscription box packed with all of the essential survival supplies that you need to prep for surviving disasters, emergencies, or your next outdoor adventure. There are many different boxes to choose from, so you can order the survival food, water, and gear required for your survival plan. Sign up today, get survival boxes delivered to your doorstep every month. No contracts, cancel anytime. Use promo code CASUALPREPPERS for 10% off your first box on any subscription or store order at survivalboxes.com. This is an easy way to do it.
And since we're talking about
they've
them,
got water, they've got MREs, they've got seeds.
well, let's talk about them while
Let's do it. Let's
we're
do it.
here. So we got some survival boxes this last week. And let's see, we got the what was that? What's this one right here? This top one. Is that that's not the gear only? Is that the Bravo? It's the Alpha. Alpha. So this is the Alpha box. So we got 2 dehydrated freeze-dried meals in the Alpha. What did we get in it this time, Cameron? I'm excited.
Apple cinnamon cereal.
Oh, I'm taking that.
Hand warmers. These are delicious.
Keep you warm in your belly.
Savory stroganoff.
Savory stroganoff. Fantastic. Then we also had emergency water pouches, as always.
These are awesome for your vehicle.
They're fantastic. And then we have a 2.5 liter survival boxes dry bag. And that's that thing right in front of you there, Cameron.
Oh,
Yeah, nice
little
little dry
baby.
bag. Yeah, it's cool, huh?
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we have a Celsius neoprene gloves and cold weather knit cap. So these are basically to keep you warm in those cold weathers when you're bugging in, right?
Yeah, that's sweet.
And then there's mittens, and then there's the 10-hour hand warmers that Cam was talking about. And then there's also the heirloom survival seeds. What did you see? What type we got in this one?
Got the straight 8 cucumber. Hey, actually, I grew these last year.
Yeah. And then there's the Celsius 8-in-1 clipper tool. Is that in there somewhere? Yeah, right. 8-in-1 clipper tool. So that's for fishing, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a 7-piece ice fishing kit. And then
Just with the ice jigs?
Yep,
Is
I
this one?
think so, yeah. And then there's the survival knowledge card. That must be all those things is in the kit,
all
you know
this.
what I
So
mean?
you got
And then there's
you
the
got the
survival.
spool and reel and all
Yep.
that stuff. But yeah, this is pretty sweet. You just throw those in your truck if you're not using them.
Yeah, no kidding, man. And then we also got the gear only box, I believe.
Which is the same, but
Yeah. So it came with the dry bag, the gloves and the knit cap, the mittens, the hand warmers, and the fishing kit. Yeah, basically it has all the same stuff. It just doesn't have the food. Oh, and what's that?
it's a cricket knife.
Cool little knife. I don't see that on there.
This is a cool knife.
That's extra. Thanks, survival boxes.
This is extra.
Nice
I
little
guess.
quick Columbia
Does
River.
it not have listed?
Yeah, I don't see it on here.
Weird.
I know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is a gear only XL, isn't it?
This is a good.
That's why.
Oh, here's a pole.
Oh yeah, it's just a fishing pole. Yeah, there's a rod and reel. Gosh,
That's pretty freaking
dang.
cool.
Well done, survival boxes. Yeah,
And then what is this big sucker?
that's the
What is that?
I don't know.
Celsius.
Yeah,
Almost looks like a gun case, but it's not.
It must be the bag. Maybe it's a bag for all that stuff. Anyways, survival boxes, freaking awesome. Thank you.
Always.
Also, we got a Tacpack. Isn't that cool? So they have the APS ambidextrous charging handle. So that's kind of cool for you AR nuts. And we got the tactical cord dispenser. Tactical cord dispenser. Dang, that's cool. And a bolt catch release. I
Bolt
like
catch release.
Did you see the St. Patty's patch? That's pretty cool.
Like that, yeah.
Show people
Cool
on
little
Facebook.
patchy patch.
YouTube.
Look, I'm wearing Tacpack right now.
Yeah, so anyways, fantastic. You can't beat that. Can't beat it with a stick.
It's time for the quick and dirty medical tip.
Yeah, we're blowing through this,
We
man.
are. It's a little long-winded. So I've had the chance to suture outside of the clinic several times in the last couple of weeks, and I found that I got a little paranoid about my tools and stuff. They weren't very good quality, and then I was like, how do I can sterilize them, but in the moment I wasn't ready, and so I just wanted to go over real quick ways to sterilize yourself. No, sterilize your tools, and so that you can keep and continue to use them and not fully damage them. So boiling water for 30 minutes is a reasonable strategy, but it doesn't always eliminate all the bacteria and stuff. It uses energy. So boiling water is a good option. It's not the best. Mm-hmm. And when you're boiling like your tools, you want to leave them in the open position, the scissors and everything to get all the different spots. So that's one good option, not the best. Soaking in bleach is better. 15 to 30 minutes in 0.1% solution of bleach will disinfect instruments. So one thing is I'd probably boil them and then just drop them in alcohol or bleach to be good and sure that you've killed everything. And then rinse them with sterile water. If you go much more than 15 to 30 minutes with these, you can start damaging the tools and rust and all that crap. Soaking in 70% isopropyl alcohol, I'd do 90%. But 30 minutes is another option. It kills most diseases and things like that. A lot of people will I wouldn't quite go this extreme, but you could soak them in there and then start top on fire. I'm like,
all right,
just heat them. You can heat them up until they're obviously like flaming hot red. That will kill everything, but that damages your tools. So fire is an option. Boiling water, soaking in isopropyl alcohol and bleach. Other chemical solutions like Sidex is a pretty common one to sterilize tools. You just scrub them. You can leave them in it for 20 minutes. You can soak them for 10 to 12 hours, and that will pretty much eliminate everything in there. So that's another option for sterilizing your tools. The best option, one other option before the best option is you can use your oven.
Oh,
obviously you need power, but if you have all that, you just put 400 degrees for 30 minutes or 325 for 2 hours, and that'll sterilize most equipment. Yeah, you just put them out, lay them out on a cookie sheet. Then your cookies are sterilized too.
Yeah.
But the best option, and it's similar to the autoclave. Autoclaves, what the hospitals use, it basically steam sterilizes everything. Is you can use a pressure cooker. If you put it at 15 pounds, put a little wire rack in it so that they're not sitting in the water. Yeah. And then you pressure cook it for 30 minutes. That's the best way to sterilize it. Nice thing about a pressure cooker is, you just need heat and then a pressure cooker. But a lot of people will take like those little baskets for deep frying things, cut the handle off, and then you can just use that to set down in your pressure cooker. But pressure cooker is going to be your best sterilization. It's the most like a autoclave. There is some nerds at MIT that have been working on like a solar autoclave, which is it'll get up to like nearly 400 degrees or something. It's crazy just using the sun. So those might be some options in the future, but you're going to have these tools. The chances are you're going to use them. Don't just, scrub them off and boil them. That might not be the best. I'd probably go a little above and beyond. Maybe use direct fire or probably soak them in bleach and boil them to prevent disease. So they did a study showing tap water versus sterile water, and they actually found that the infection rate with just tap water was 5.4%, and the sterilized water was 10.3%.
What?
So the tap water with the chemicals was actually more sterile.
That's crazy.
So if you have to use just water, first, rinsing out wounds and things like that, tap water is probably just as sterile.
Good.
And the other thing they found was the clean method, the very sterile suturing with sterile gloves versus just regular gloves. They didn't find there was any significant infection rate increase.
Wow.
Obviously, you want to be as careful as possible and
Yeah.
use the sterile method, but when worst comes to worst, if you have to just be clean about it, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting.
Kind of interesting the studies show that.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, that's it.
All right.
That was a
Well,
lot of info.
thanks, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Thank you for subscribing. Tell all your friends. And you got anything
Grandmas,
else?
grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
Pass
else?
it on. Nope. Keep it going.
Okay. We'll see you next time.